Welcome to Bethlehem Institute of Engineering. Bethlehem Institute of Engineering is affiliated to Anna University, Chennai and approved by AICTE, New Delhi. This institution was established in the year 2008.
Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the next topic, algorithm. What is algorithm? Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure for solving any problem in a finite number of steps. Okay. So what is algorithm? Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure for solving any problem in a finite number of steps. Here, this algorithm has some characteristics. First characteristic is algorithm has a finite number of inputs. Okay, algorithm has a finite number of inputs. The next one, algorithm must be written in step by step. Okay, algorithm must be written in step by step. Then third one, algorithm has a proper termination. This algorithm has proper termination. Then fourth one, in this algorithm, each step is very important. Okay, in this algorithm, each step is very important. Then last one is the desired output must be obtained after the algorithm terminates. Okay, so whatever output we need, then that output must be obtained after the algorithm terminates. Okay, then next one, quality of good algorithms. Okay, this quality, the algorithm quality must be defined by the 6 factors: time, space, accuracy, sequence, understandability, solvability. First one, time. This algorithm should take less time to execute the program. Okay, time means it should take less time to execute the program. Then second one, space. It should take less memory space to execute the space program. Okay, space means it should take less memory space to execute the particular program. Then next one, accuracy. This algorithm should provide more accurate result to the user. Okay, algorithm should provide more accurate result to the user. Then fourth one is sequence. This algorithm should be written in sequence order. Then understandability. This algorithm should be easily understandable by the user. Then next one, solvability. Using this algorithm, we can solve any problems. Okay, using this algorithm, we can solve any problems. Then two important factors of algorithms. We are using two important factors. One is time complexity, then another one is space complexity. First one, time complexity. Time complexity means it is the amount of time required to execute the program. What is time complexity? It is the amount of time required to execute the program. Then space complexity means the amount of memory space required to execute the program. Okay, space complexity means the amount of memory space required to execute the program. Then next, steps to develop algorithm. First step, algorithm should be enclosed by two statements. Okay, algorithm should be enclosed by two statements. One is start, another one is stop. Okay, then second one, to read the data from the user, we use input statement or read statement. To read the data from the user, we use input statement or read statement. Then third one, to display the output, we use the statement output or print. To display the output, we can use the output statement or print statement. Then fourth one, for operation, we are using, for calculation, we are using some operators. That is, we can use arithmetic, logical or relational operators. Okay, arithmetic operators means addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Relational operators means greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, etc. Okay. Then logical operators means and or not. Okay, and or not. These are the logical operators. Okay, for calculation we are using some operators. The operators means it is a symbol. Okay, operator means it is a symbol used for calculation. So we are using arithmetic operators, relational operators, and logical operators. Okay. Okay, see one example for this algorithm. Finding sum of two numbers. Okay, we are going to write the algorithm for finding sum of two numbers. Okay, so first we have to write the start. Okay, because we are going to start the algorithm. So first step is start. Okay, then second one, we are going to get the input from the user. Okay, we are going to get the input from the user. So write the keyword input, then we are going to add two numbers, is it? So we are going to get the two variables, that is a and b. Okay, then third step is calculation. Okay, addition means we are using arithmetic operation. Okay, we are here addition we are using the plus symbol. Okay, so two input is a and b, so a plus b, is it? So this output is stored into another one variable c. Okay, a plus b stored into another one variable c, is it? So c is equal to a plus b. Then next we want to display the output. Okay, we want to display the output, so we are using the statement print. Okay, if you want to display the output to the user, then we must use the print statement. Okay, print c, because the output is stored into the variable c. Okay, the output is stored in the variable c, so we are writing print c. Okay, after that we stop the algorithm. Okay, this is the example for finding sum of two numbers. Next one, notation of algorithm. Next topic is notation of algorithm. In this algorithm, we are using three notations. Okay, in this algorithm, we are using three notations: flowchart, pseudocode, programming language. Flowchart, pseudocode, programming language. First one is flowchart. Flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm. Flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm. This flowchart is made up of symbols. Okay, this flowchart is made up of symbols which are connected by arrows to indicate the order of execution. Okay, okay, these are the notations of an flowchart. Okay, for start and stop, we are using this rounded rectangle. Okay, for start and stop, we are using this rounded rectangle symbol. Okay, then second one, input or output. For input and output, we are using parallelogram symbol. Okay, for input and output, we are using the parallelogram symbol. Then third one is process. For processing, that is for calculation part, we are using this rectangle symbol. Then fourth one is decision making. Fourth one is decision making. Here we are using diamond symbol. For decision making, we are using the diamond symbol. Then flow lines. Flow lines means it represents the direction of data flow. Okay, it represents the direction of data flow. Then next one, connector. This connector is used to connect the flowchart. Okay, this connector is used to connect the flowchart. Then annotation, it is used to show the calculation part. It is used to show the calculation part. Okay, these are the some symbols used in the flowchart. Then some guidelines for flowchart. In this flowchart, we are following some guidelines. First, in this flowchart, we are using only the standard symbols. Okay, we are using only the standard symbols. Then there should be start and stop in flowchart. Okay, there should be start and stop in flowchart. Then flowchart should be neat, clear, and easy to follow. Okay, flowchart should be neat, clear, and easy to follow. Then direction of flowchart is from left to right or top to bottom. The direction of the flowchart is from left to right or from top to bottom. Then only one flow come to the process or only one flow come from process. Okay, only one flow come to the process and only one flow come from the process. Then only one flow come to the decision and two or more flow lines can leave the symbol. Only one flow come to the decision and two or more flow lines can leave the symbol. Okay, that means for decision making we are using the diamond symbol, is it? So in this diamond symbol only one flow come to the decision. Okay, then two or three flow lines can leave from this diamond symbol. Then next, only one flow is used to start and stop symbol. Already we learned for start and stop we are using rounded rectangle symbol, is it? So for only one flow is used in this start and stop symbol. Then flow lines should not cross each other. Okay, flow lines should not cross each other. Then the flowchart should be simple as possible. Okay, if you are drawing flowchart, you should draw the flowchart as simple as possible. Then if we are need a new page, that is if new page is needed then use the connectors. Okay, if new page is needed then use the connectors. Okay, these are some guidelines for this flowchart. Then example for flowchart. Okay, we are going to draw a flowchart for addition of two numbers. We are going to draw a flowchart for addition of two numbers. First, we are going to start the flowchart, is it? So, first, draw the start symbol. For start, what is the symbol we are using? Rounded rectangle symbol. Okay, rounded rectangle symbol. Within the rounded rectangle symbol, you should write start. Okay, then after that, we want to get the input from the user. Is it? We want to get the input from the user, that is read. Okay, read. Then addition of two numbers. So we want to get two input from the users, that is A and B. Okay, A and B. Then after that we want to add two numbers. We want to add two numbers, that is A plus B. Okay, A plus B stored in the variable C, is it? So C is equal to A plus B. For calculation part, we are using the symbol rectangle. Okay, for calculation part, we are using the symbol rectangle. Then once the calculation part is over, after that you want to display the output, is it? So for output, we are using the parallelogram symbol. Okay, so that is output. The output is stored in the variable C. Okay, so write output C. Then stop the flowchart. Okay, this is the flowchart for addition of two numbers. Then next notation for algorithm is pseudocode. Okay, pseudocode. Next notation is pseudocode. Pseudocode is a text-based representation of an algorithm. Okay, what is pseudocode? Pseudocode is a text-based representation of an algorithm. Here, pseudo means imitation, code means instructions. Okay, pseudo means imitation, then code means instructions. In this pseudocode, we are following some rules. Okay, first rule is write one statement per line. Write one statement per line. Then Second one, capitalize the keywords. Capitalize the keywords. Third one, end multi-line structure. Then fourth one, keep statement as language independent. First one is write one statement per line. In pseudocode, we write one statement per line. Each statement represents single actions. Okay, here each statement must represent single action. That is, read means it should do only the read action. Okay, then capitalize keyword. In pseudocode, we capitalize all the keywords. Okay, keywords means for addition we are using the keyword add, subtraction we are using the keyword subtract. Okay, these are the keywords. These keywords must be write in capital letters. Okay, then third one, end multi-line structure. In pseudocode, we use end multi-line structure to increase the clarity. Okay, if you want to increase the clarity of an pseudocode, we use the multi-line structure. Okay, if you want to increase the clarity of the pseudocode, then we use this multi-line structure. Then multi-line structure means yeah, in our program we are using the if else statement, is it? So if you are using if else statement means it will increase the clarity of the pseudocode. Then fourth one, keep statement as language independent. In pseudocode we write all statement as language independent statements. Okay, then what are the keywords used in pseudocode? For input, we are using the keyword input, read, get, obtain, prompt, define. Okay. For output, we are using the keyword output, display, show, print. For compute, that is for calculation, we are using the keywords compute, determine, calculate, use, add, subtract, multiply, etc. For initialization, okay, for initialization, we are using the keyword set and initialize. Then if you want to add one, then you should use the keyword increment. Suppose if you want to subtract one, then you have to use the keyword decrement. Okay, these are the keywords used in the pseudocode. Then some guidelines. Okay, the pseudocode should be written in English. Okay, pseudocode should be written in English. Then one statement is written per line. Okay, for each line we should write only one statement. Okay, the next one, all keywords should be capitalized. Okay, all keywords should be capitalized. Then multi-line structure should be entered in this pseudocode. Then all statements should be written as language independent. Okay, then pseudocode should be understandable one. Then direction of pseudocode is from top to bottom. Okay, in flowchart the direction may be left to right or top to bottom, but in pseudocode the direction should be from top to bottom. Okay, then some advantages: it is easy to write, it is easy to modify, then it is easy to read and understand because it is written in English. Okay, then it is easy to translate into any other programming language. Then it occupies less space. Then no special symbols are used, no special syntax are used here. Okay, no special symbols and syntax are used here. Okay, these are the advantages of pseudocodes. Then disadvantages: it is not visual one because we do not get a picture of design, is it? But in flowchart, it is a pictorial representation, so the user can easily understand the flowchart. Okay, but this pseudocode not a visual one. Okay, here we didn't use any standard format. Then it cannot be compiled and executed. It cannot be compiled and executed. These are the some disadvantages of pseudocode. Then example of pseudocode. Okay, example of pseudocode for addition of two numbers. Addition of two numbers. For pseudocode, we are using keywords. Is it? So first we get the input from the user. Is it? For get the input from the user, we are using the keyword read. Okay, we are using the keyword read. So addition of two numbers. So we just get the two input from the users A and B. Okay. Then after that we want to add that two numbers. Is it? That is add C is equal to A plus B. Okay. Add C is equal to A plus B. For calculation we are using the keyword for add. Okay. For addition we are using add. Okay. Then after that the addition is over. Then we want to display the result. Is it? For displaying the result we are using the keyword print. Okay. For displaying the result we are using the keyword print. Okay. Print C. Then after that we have to stop the pseudocode. Okay. Can you understood? Then last notation is programming language. Okay, last notation is programming language. This programming language is a language which is used to communicate instructions to the computer. Okay, programming language is a language which is used to communicate instructions to the computer. Programming languages has to follow the syntax and semantics rules to create the program. This programming languages has to follow the syntax and semantics rules to create the program. We are having three types of programming languages. Okay, we are having three types of programming languages: machine language, low level language, then high level language. Machine language, low level language, and high level language. First one is machine language. This machine language consists of only binary numbers. Okay, this machine language consists of binary numbers only. Binary numbers means zeros and ones. Okay, in this machine language we are using only the zeros and ones. Okay, so every computer has its own machine language. Every computer has its own machine language. Here one drawback is there, because we are in this machine language we are using only the binary bits. Is it? So the system only understand this. Okay, so the system only understand that binary bits. Then second one is low level language. This is a machine readable language. This language consists of mnemonics. Okay, this language consists of mnemonics, like some English language. Okay, like English language. Here we are using some mnemonics. Mnemonics means some keywords. Okay, here is also some drawbacks. Drawbacks are there, because it is difficult to remember the mnemonics. Okay, here we are using many keywords. Okay, so it is difficult to remember. If we forget that mnemonics, we cannot continue the program. Okay, suppose if we forget the mnemonics, then we cannot continue the particular program. Okay, this is a low level language. Then last one is high level programming language. This high level language is a human readable language. This high level language is a human readable language. A high level language allows the programmer to write in sentences and can be easily translated into machine language by using compilers. Okay. Normally, we are using many high-level languages: Python, C, C++. These are the high-level programming languages. Okay, so the user can easily understand that programs. Okay, okay, that's all. For next class, we will continue the building blocks of algorithm. Okay, thank you, students.